Welcome guys, welcome to a Fluffer tutorial on NOE pop-up attack. So today we're going to be discussing a new TTP, well not relatively new, a new TTP for the series. I'm going to try and release one a week. So today's focus is going to be on ground attack and NOE pop-up attacks. So Nap the Earth is what NOE stands for. Essentially what it means is you're basically flying terrain masking and using the terrain to your advantage while masking yourself from radar of your whatever your threat is. So if it's a ground-based threat like an SA2 or an SA3, obviously they can't see through mountains, so you're going to be using the terrain to help you get into your ingress to your target. For lack of better terms. Alright, so this TE that I built is a NOE pop-up attack that I've actually made a video for before. We did a 4-ship on this. It was a Togwani nuclear strike or nuclear plant. Not too fluent in my American Korean, so I don't know the actual pronunciation. So this is the actual profile of the flight plan that we're going to be talking about today. Alright, so the download for this is going to be in the description. If you guys want to try it out, I'll put it in the description. You guys can download it and give it a shot. So for today, we're going to be doing a NOE ingress from Steer 3 to Steer 4. And then from Steer 4, we're going to follow this river until we hit the high terrain and then hit Steer 5. From Steer 5, we're going to be pushing NOE. Once we hit Steer 6, we're going to be doing what's called a split pop-up attack. Alright, so ideally if you had a 2-ship of F-16s, about this point one would split on the same heading or offsetting to the left about 20 or 30 degrees, and then one would be offsetting to the right about 20 or 30 degrees. Obviously number 1 will be attacking first, number 2 will be about 5 seconds in trail. So it's very crucial that your timing is perfect when you're doing this type of attack, because you can only do it a one pass type situation. All right, so we call it one pass haul ass. So it's kind of tricky in the manner of how you're going to attack this target. Because you're going to be jammer off, you're going to be very vulnerable. As you see, the 2 threats that I put here are an SA2 and an SA3, one to the northwest and then one to the southeast of the target. Okay, so it's most likely that you're going to get fired on. I'm hoping that we get fired on when we get in game, but that way I can demonstrate some defensive procedures and whatnot. Alright, so the profile for my chaff and flare is going to be program 2, and I'm going to do a preemptive chaff and flare and then a post chaff and flare. Alright, so this is 2 things. It deflects pretty much all, well I wouldn't say all, but it gives me a better chance of deflecting IR guided missiles such as manpads and so on and so forth, okay? And the chaff program is specifically designed for SA2s and SA3s. I would just spam it, get as much off as you can, so to speak, dump your bombs and get out of there. I'm going to be climbing from about 500 feet to about 7,000 feet, hopefully at about 450 knots, sustaining in the climb with the burn. Okay, so the biggest thing here is that our profile is very crucial in terms of how we're going to deliver our ordnance. Alright, I'm going to be carrying, I believe it's going to be 2 Mark 84s, one per wing. Alright, so we'll take a look at that here in a second. It's been a while since I've done BMS, guys, so bear with me here, but I'm gonna click through all this stuff and get to the loadout screen. Okay, let's do it pretty realistic. Take off the targeting pod, leave the jammer on. Oh yeah, we got GBU. What are those? 10s. So yeah, that's why that will not come off. Alright, so get rid of that. We'll simulate that we have 4 AIM 120s. Not going to have any air threats for this scenario, so it's not really a factor. Actually, yeah, let's do Mark 84s onto each wing. We're not going to be using, yeah, low drag penetrators is what we want, because we want to penetrate the nuclear reactor, so to speak. So that's the biggest thing here. Okay, let's go ahead and add some wing bags and take down the fuel to simulate our conditions. So let's call it about 9,000 pounds. That sounds pretty conservative. Close that bad boy out. Okay, I forgot what I clicked to get on there. Is it the loadout? There we go. Alright, so it's the top button there. Okay, so yeah, this is our loadout. We got an ALQ 131 jamming pod on the bottom there. And then we have 2 1370 gallon or tank per wing, so 2 bags, and 2 low drag penetrating Mark 84s. Okay, so these have steel plugs on them. Don't think you can see on here. Yeah, but so basically they're designed to penetrate concrete and so on and so forth. All right, it's pretty much what they probably used. Well, they were reported using laser guided bombs, but that was non-confirmed. So we'll just go and use this method here. Okay. All right. So biggest thing here is let's go and recon the target, and let's take a look at our objective. Okay, so we got the reactor, which is, let's zoom out. We got the cooling towers, which are kind of a factor, but since my target's going to be the reactor, we're going to focus on this main building here. All right, so Visrecki is very crucial when we do this, and obviously I'm going to be orienting myself. So let's take a look at the area. Okay, so if I look at it, where is my heading? Okay, so 286, it's to the southeast. So let's look at it from this angle. All right. So when I make my ingress, it's going to be more or less from this location. All right. I'm going to try and basically aim for the base of these two cooling towers because I know that's where it's going to be. Obviously, the big green rectangular shaped building is my target. So that's what our aim point is. Let's try and get it right in the middle of there and see what happens. All right. Close out of this target or this view. And that's pretty much it. As you see, I've got my SA2 ring here and my SA3 ring here. Big notes is that I'm going to be jammer off and radar off on my air-to-air radar the whole entire time. So I want to put out the least amount of missions as possible, and I want to do this as, I guess, surgical as possible. In the Israeli attack, they did it at dawn. The biggest thing here is that's going to be at 8:57-ish. So I don't know how realistic it is. Let's go and save this again. And we'll go into game and test this out. Okay. Alright, see you guys in a minute. Alright guys, welcome back. Alright, so this is the tutorial version, or the in-flight version of the tutorial. And our main objective here is, like I said, to stay NOE the whole entire flight. We might encounter a threat, and I'm hoping that we do, so I can show you guys how to defend it. All right, defend against it. We have an SA2 to the northwest and an SA3 to the southeast. All right, so the biggest thing here that you're going to notice I'm going to do after I unpause is I'm going to turn the radar off. I'm going to verify that my programs. Normally I would have done this about 30 miles in advance, but I'm showing you guys how to do it before we get there. I'll fly CCRP until it hit, CCRP until it hits steer 6. When I hit steer 6, I'll transition to CCIP. Alright, so let's unpause it and see what happens. Alright, turning the radar off. Gonna go here, and yep, profile 1 is set in pairs. I'm gonna go and transition to the HSD and air-to-ground mode. As you notice that the jammer is off the whole entire flight, like I said in the briefing. And I'm going to be staying as close to the ground as humanly possible. I think my limit's going to be about 500 feet, and I just busted that. Let's go and reset the head of the point of view. Stay under 600 knots. You don't want to overspeed the aircraft with the bombs. And Cat 1 config. Program 2 selected. Alright, so I'm 10.5 miles from the target. Let's buzz this building here. Give these nice brains a scare.
Altitude.
Alright, steer 5's coming up. When it hits steer 5, I'll go CCRP or CCIP. Let's roll here.
Jammer.
SA2 is starting to ping me.
Pull up, pull up, pull up.
I'm going to leave the jammer off as long as possible to show you guys the difference between or actually how to react to this threat that might shoot at me. Pause it when I get to steer 6 so we can get eyes on. As you guys can see in the left hand or 11 o'clock position, there is the nuke plant.
Jammer. Altitude. Altitude.
Alright, here's steer 6. Let's go and turn into it.
Altitude. Altitude.
Alright, let's roll out. Biggest things to notice here, SA2 somewhere over here, SA3 somewhere over here. So I'm going to be trying to get away from this target as fast as possible. Ideally, you want to start pulling right about now to about 7,000 feet. So when we do that, I'll roll over. When I get lined up with the target, I'll pause it again. We'll talk about some stuff. Go and burn.
Jammer, chaff, flare.
Start popping some flares. Alright, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Start my rollover, 6,000.
Jammer.
Alright, I'm a little off center here. I'll have to make a quick correction. 450 knots. I'm going to go back to idle. Keep that chaff flare program going. When I line it up, I'm going to release these ordnance. Alright, here we go.
Jammer.
Bombs away.
Chaff, flare.
Turning away from
Chaff,
the target.
flare,
Continue
low.
chaff and flare
Chaff,
program.
flare. Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare.
Get rid of these bombs here if this guy launches. Yep.
Counter.
Alright, so the biggest thing, look here. If you guys notice, the missile is ballistic. If I turn into it now, the missile is going to have too much energy to basically intercept me. I'm going to try and keep it on my 3-9 line, which is basically at my wingtip as long as possible. I'm going to turn into the missile as it's trying to intercept the lead pursuit on me.
Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare.
Turn
Low.
my jammer on as
Chaff,
well.
flare.
As you guys notice, the missile is too ballistic, meaning that it has way too much energy to intercept me. As long as I stay relatively close, these guys will probably be watching me like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Altitude. Altitude.
There's that SA-3 battalion.
Counter. Chaff, flare. Chaff, flare.
Too ballistic. There you go. Way too much energy.
Chaff, flare.
Woo! Cut that one close.
Counter.
Alright, change my trajectory here.
Chaff, flare.
Keep the chaff flare going. Put this guy on my 3-9 line. Turn into him as soon as he gets within distance. Alright guys, welcome back. Alright, you see here I've started off, let me adjust the head positioning here. I started off and we're at 21,000 feet. That's due to the AI starting off. So we're going to go and turn the radar off. Let's go and turn our lights off as well. So if you guys remember from the flight plan, it was about it was steer 6 that was the initial point, or not the initial point. Steer 5 was my initial point as I've set it personally, but steer 6 is my visual cue to basically pull up. All right, so that's essentially what we're looking for here.
Altitude. Altitude.
Go and turn my chaff flare, turn on semi. Alright, 650 knots. So the biggest thing here is I've got two big old 1,000-pound bombs on each wing. And we're going to try and stay as low as humanly possible and on flight plan. At this point, carrot speed would be very crucial if I was with the 2-ship, but we're not, so not really a factor. Alright, in reality, most of these guys practiced for about 3 months before they did this. I've had a little bit of practice doing NOE pop-up attacks. They're probably the most complex maneuver to do without any sort of assistance from a computer, like their targeting pod or so on and so forth. Okay, so you see I'm well below carrot speed right now. It's like 630 knots,
Altitude.
my carrot speed.
Altitude.
We're just going to maintain this and see how fast we can go. SA-2 is pinging me.
Altitude.
Right. Should be able to see the old nuke plant. Yep, there she is. Right. Turn steer 6 is my target right now. SA-2 is trying to target me. Alright, I know it's awake.
Pull up. Pull up.
Let's go. I've set Cat 1 config because I'm going to try and get the fuck out of here as soon as possible. SA2 is still pinging me. Alright, as soon as I get a launch indication, I'm going to turn that on. SA3 is now pinging me. Let's turn to my final attack heading now. Alright, I'm visual with the going to CC CCIP. Let's go and pull up, go on the burn. Climbing to about 7,000. In full burn now. I didn't offset because I'm by myself, but let's go and roll over. I didn't even set my release program, but alright, line it up, put the pipper on it.
Bombs away.
Chaff
Bombs
flare.
away.
Chaff flare.
Target destroyed. Hopefully I wouldn't have gotten radiation poisoning. Turn the jammer on. Boogie on out.
Pull up. Pull
Say
up.
3
Pull
battalion's
up.
like
Pull
right here,
up.
but
Pull altitude.
they're
Pull
so
up.
close to me
Altitude.
that they're not going to be able to target me. Might even be able to see them. I'm going to stay as low as possible till we get some terrain coverage. Full burn. Probably blow out some eardrums, guys nearby. There they are.
Counter. Chaff flare.
Alright, so I'm going defensive now. Let's go and drop everything.
Chaff flare.
Alright, I see my threat. I'm going to put it on my 3-9 line.
Chaff flare.
It's ballistic. It's not going to hit. Alright, so my jammer's on. I'm going to try and get the hell out of here as soon as possible. Yeah, SA3 is so ballistic, it's not going to... It has too much energy to catch up now. Alright, let's go and pause this and then we'll do it again.